Real quick, before we get started, I want to ask what comes to mind when you hear the words processed foods? I'm willing to bet that your first thought is something along the lines of, nope, can't eat those. Processed foods are bad and unhealthy. Well, I'm here to tell you that they're actually not. Processed foods are actually necessary for anyone trying to do all of the life things like working a 9 to 5, taking care of the family, trying to work out, and practicing self care habits every day. Sure, some processed foods can lead to inflammation, but there are options that can actually support your health and your anti inflammatory diet. That's why I put together a free must have guide called 7 Processed Foods You Should Be Using to Make Anti Inflammatory Meals in Minutes. This guide is your go to resource to help you understand that processed doesn't mean unhealthy. Plus, you'll learn about 7 processed foods that can make your anti inflammatory life in the kitchen so much easier. And you'll also see a few quick and tasty suggestions on how to use them. Because let's be real, who has time to chop, wash, and prep every single meal from scratch while juggling work and errands and family? We've all got our plates full, literally and figuratively. All you have to do to get your hands on a free copy is go to betterwithcarbo.com/7foods. That's betterwithcarbo.com/7foods and grab your copy of the guide that will save you time, energy, and frustration in the kitchen. There is no one size fits all approach to snacking. The amount of food you need can vary based on factors like your activity level, how long it will be until your next meal, or even how you're feeling on a particular day. Some days you need a little more to eat, while other days your snacking is practically non existent. The key is listening to your body and responding to its signals rather than following some kind of like arbitrary, strict portion guidelines. I'm Krissy Carbo, registered dietitian and host of the Inflamed in the Brain podcast. Here we cut through the confusion and complexity of inflammatory health to deliver straightforward, bite-sized strategies and information you can easily apply to your life. Not that long ago, I was lost in a sea of information and overwhelmed by the challenges of inflammation. But cut through years of trial, education, and self-discovery, I've learned to break free from the chaos of fad diets to cultivate a practical, anti-inflammatory lifestyle that not only helped me stabilize my own diagnosis, but thrive with it. Whether you're an autoimmune warrior yourself, or you're just trying to have a healthier, uncomplicated life, you're in the right place. Together, we'll explore realistic strategies that can make a profound difference in your life. So if you're ready to embrace a simpler, healthier way to live, let's dive in, learn, and grow together. Welcome to the Inflamed in the Brain podcast. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the Inflamed in the Brain podcast. I'm Krissy, your host and friendly neighborhood dietitian, and today we are diving into one of my favorite topics, snacks. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how to create the perfect anti-inflammatory snack for whenever you need it. So grab your snacks, see what I did there, and then let's get into it. I think it's really important for us to talk about snacks because we all like to snack, whether we want to admit it or not. Those of us who don't want to admit it, I think it's because there's some kind of like guilt and shame that's associated with snacking. I mean, even just this past week, I'll share a little bit here, but I was at a conference for work and I found myself in a room full of people. And just outside of that room, there was an awesome snack bar. And I'm talking about brand name seltzers, waters, fancy yogurts, fresh fruit, and like a very nice spread. And even some fun things like candies and pastries. Your girl is a sucker for a real nice snack bar. So, of course, I had to get some snacks. And I was one out of the very few people, especially women, who partook in the fancy snack bar. In full transparency here, for a hot second, I started to hear that little voice in my head, the one that's insecure, telling me that people are judging me, especially being in a bigger body and eating. And not only that, Not just like eating in a bigger body in front of people, but I had to walk up some crazy hills in order to get to this conference. So I was hot and sweaty and out of breath and eating a snack. And for a second, I really did think like everybody was looking at me and thinking all of these bad things. But like at the end of the day, nobody cares, even if they did like tough tits. And snacking isn't inherently bad. There's nothing wrong with snacking, but I think what needs clarification is what to snack on. Again, it's not inherently harmful. It's not a bad thing to snack. Reaching for a snack doesn't mean you lack self control or anything like that. In fact, when your body needs a snack, it might actually be trying to tell you something important. Like maybe you didn't eat enough during your last meal, or maybe it wasn't balancing or satisfying. And even if you turn to food for emotional comfort, snacking might also be like an indication that you're feeling stressed or sad or anxious. And the second misconception here is that snacking should always be something small, like a piece of fruit or a yogurt or a handful of crackers. And while those things might be good options if you like those things, snacks don't have to fit into like that narrow definition of being like this small little dainty thing that can just fit into like one hand. You don't have to have these snacks if you don't want to. And in fact, even if you do like these things, you shouldn't have any one of those small little snacks by themselves. You should also be pairing any of those items or making sure that you are pairing anything that you're snacking on with something else to make it a balanced and filling snack. Like I said, those aren't your snacking options, but if you like those things, go ahead. But you can also snack on things like chicken wings or a taco or olives, even eggs, if that's your kind of thing. But the big picture here is that you need to eat whatever you want as a snack in a balanced way so that it's truly satisfying for you, but it's also supporting your blood sugar and preventing inflammation. So, we're going to talk a couple of ways to build this perfect snack for you, but I do want to talk about why a balanced snack is important for you. So, along with satisfaction, we want to be satisfied. We also want to support blood sugar. And one of the key reasons that it's important to have a balanced snack is blood sugar control. Think about what most people typically like to have for a snack. So, like I said, it's usually like a piece of fruit by itself, or chips, or pretzels, or granola. And all of those things tend to be higher on the carb scale. So, when you eat those things alone, your blood sugar will spike significantly. And when blood sugar spikes, and they're consistently high, it can lead to inflammation through several mechanisms, including like protein glycation, oxidative stress, and the release of pro inflammatory cytokines. Hyperglycemia can also impair your body's ability to utilize antioxidants as well. And we know that antioxidants are really important for fighting inflammation. A balanced snack, which includes a mix of carbs, protein, and healthy fats, helps stabilize blood sugar levels. For example, pairing a carb source like fruit or whole grain cracker with a fat or a protein like nuts, eggs, or avocado prevents your blood sugar from spiking too high for a long time and then crashing. It's more like a slow and stable increase in blood sugar. And when blood sugar remains stable, it reduces the risk of inflammation triggered by glucose imbalances. So, on top of supporting your blood sugar, a balanced snack also provides more sustainable energy throughout the day. Carbohydrates offer a quick energy, like they're a quick energy source because they break down and digest very quickly, while protein and fats provide longer lasting fuel. So, they'll keep you feeling satisfied and full for a longer period of time. This combination will prevent the dips of energy that come with consuming like carb heavy snacks alone. And by keeping your energy levels stable and steady, you can avoid the irritability, fatigue, crashes, and cravings that lead to overeating and poor food choices, both of which will lead to inflammation and worsen inflammation. So I think I gave a little hint a few minutes ago, but what should you be eating for a snack? So we know why balanced snacks are important. So what should you be eating for a snack? The broad answer here is that you should be having some kind of pairing of carbs, fat, protein with some fiber and color as a snack. It sounds like a lot. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I do recommend the same thing for a balanced plate. But the key here is to find foods that overlap with these categories and then fill in the blanks with other foods so that your snack is balanced, which will help you fight inflammation. And technically, you don't have to have all 5 of these things in a snack. You can have a protein and a fat, or a carb and a protein. But the big goal here is that you want to avoid having carbs by themselves, or what I like to call naked carbs, because this is where the big sugar spikes and inflammation come from. So you can have just an avocado as a snack if you want, if that's satisfying for you, or a yogurt with some berries and chia seeds. But again, you want to avoid having an apple by itself. You want to avoid having the pretzel by itself. You maybe want to pair that apple or pretzel with some almonds or nut butter, which can serve as protein and fat to help stabilize the sugar release from the apple. Like I said, for a snack, you don't have to have all 5 groups here. Big picture is avoiding the carbs without fat and protein. But you can also find plenty of snack food options where these 5 categories kind of overlap. So, for example, a yogurt can be a fat, a carb, and a protein. Berries can be a carb, color, and fiber. Sweet potatoes can be carbs, color, and fiber. So, a lot of these things can overlap with each other. So, it might sound like a lot to have all 5 of those things as a snack, but some of the foods do overlap in their categories. Think about it like a puzzle. So, for example, you want to snack a hard boiled egg is a fat and a protein. Pair that with some berries. You have color, carbs, and fiber. You got yourself a solid snack. Sourdough bread is a carb. You want to avoid having that by itself if you do want toast. So maybe have that slice of bread with avocado, which is a fat and a fiber, or maybe even an egg as a protein and a fat. And then you got yourself a solid snack. I know, like, one question that I get a lot is, how big should a snack be? Um, Obviously, you don't want the snack to be as big as a meal, right? So if it is as big as a meal, maybe just have that meal. The more scholarly dietitian would probably say that a snack can be or should be maxed out at around 250 calories. But more realistically and more sustainably, the size of the snack should be driven by your body's hunger cues and energy needs rather than just like 250 calories. Also, do you know what 250 calories look like? Because I don't know what 250 calories of an avocado look like. I think it's like half of an avocado, but again, like, I could be wrong. And you don't want to stress yourself out again with the numbers and the calculating 250 calories. If you're only slightly hungry, a smaller snack like a piece of fruit with a handful of nuts might be all that you need to hold you over. On the other hand, if you're hungrier and further away from your next meal, you might need a little something that's more sustainable. So think yogurt with toppings or a smoothie with added protein. There is no one size fits all approach to snacking. The amount of food you need can vary based on factors like your activity level, how long it will be until your next meal, or even how you're feeling on a particular day. Some days you need a little more to eat, while other days your snacking is practically non existent. The key is listening to your body and responding to its signals rather than following some kind of like arbitrary, strict portion guidelines. A practical tip is to just ask yourself before reaching for a snack, am I feeling hungry or really hungry? This question can help guide your portion size without overthinking anything. Remember, some days a small snack is enough, and then other days you might need more. It'll vary from day to day. Just trust your body, it knows what it needs. At the end of the day, remember, it's not a bad thing to want or have a snack. What you want to do is think about your snack and think if what you're eating should be paired with carbs, fat, or protein at minimum. One thing you can also keep in mind when it comes to snacking is your habit around why you're snacking or reaching for food. Are you snacking because you're physically hungry, or is there something else that's maybe driving that reach for a snack? Stress, sadness, boredom, and even frustration can all trigger emotional eating, leading you to snack when you're not actually hungry. And if that's left unchecked, this could potentially be contributing to inflammation. It's also important to just check in with yourself before grabbing a snack. Are you hungry? Are you truly hungry? Or are you eating because you're stressed and you're bored? If it's an emotional trigger, then snacking isn't really what your body needs at that moment. And instead of snacking, maybe learn to cope with those kinds of emotions without turning to food. Finding other outlets like taking a walk, journaling, calling a friend, putting on music can help manage stress or sadness without reliance on food. The goal is to separate emotional eating from genuine hunger so that when you do snack, it's because your body's asking for nourishment, not as a reaction to emotions. So I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, please leave a review, rate the show wherever you're listening to this podcast episode, share it with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our conversations, and also connect with me. I'm at Better with Carbo on Instagram, always looking forward to new conversations. Until next time, same place.